Hey, One Piece fans, this is Chris Bolts, and I'm going to be coming in with a video about a little bit of a controversy that has hit the One Piece fandom. Now, we are looking at the One Piece Season 2 first trailer, and I did a reaction on this video, and I basically said that this was absolutely gorgeous, absolutely perfect. Can't wait for the next season to come on out and everything like that. But of course, with everything that comes new is controversy. Now, before I do get into the video, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. Now, the controversy in question just happens to be on the character we just saw earlier right here. This one right here, Vivi. Now, as you can see, Vivi is being played by a very beautiful actress. I think her name is Chiranthra Chirandran, something like that. All right, and I hope I am pronouncing her name right. Vivi is being played by an actress named Chiranthra Chirandran. She is the one that's going to be playing the titular character Vivi. Now, as you can see in this picture right here, Vivi in the anime is a white character. Now, this is very customary of Japanese people to go in there and make certain characters of theirs white. To give a really broad example, now if you ever have seen the anime Naruto, you see that the titular character here is blonde-haired and blue-eyed. However, he has the name of Naruto Uzumaki. His father also happens to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, but his mother is a redhead. So it's not unnatural for Japanese mangaka and Japanese animators to make their characters white. In fact, if you go across anime going back all the way back to the 50s when Astro Boy made his debut, most of the characters have all been white, even though they might have Japanese names. So it's not uncommon to see that Vivi is a white character. However, Vivi's last name happens to be Nefertari. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know too many white women who have a Middle Eastern sounding last name unless they have gotten married. And that's the case right here. The region from where Vivi arises from is a place called Alabasta. And Alabasta happens to be based upon the Middle Eastern region, mostly around Egypt. I think I mentioned this in my preview of the Netflix One Piece Season 2 trailer, but if I didn't, I'll mention it right here. Eiichiro Oda has already mentioned that when he's trying to bring the characters of One Piece to life, he wants them to reflect the region closest to where they would originate from. Like, for example, he has stated that Luffy, the titular character of One Piece, would be Brazilian. Inaki Godoy actually happens to be Mexican. He happens to be the character for One Piece. Now, when we look at Inaki Godoy, nobody ever thought of him being a race swap character, because when we go and look at the character of Luffy, Luffy himself also looks white. But Eiichiro Oda signed off on Luffy being played by Inaki Godoy. We also have that situation here as well. Eiichiro Oda decided to sign off Chiranthra Chirandran playing Vivi because he wanted Vivi to reflect the region where she would be in if she was based in real life. And that's what we have right here. Me personally, I think it's a really great casting. I find Chiranthra to be a very beautiful woman, very beautiful actor. I think she will do the role justice. However, the controversy lies in, actually, I think both sides of the political aisle here. And what we're doing is we're taking our American way of looking at entertainment nowadays, where so many of us think that a race swap is a bad thing. And me personally, I think race swaps is a bad thing in general. I don't think that's the case here, but I don't like race swaps at all. And if you need proof of that, you can go watch my video on Captain America Brave New World or Captain Black Falcon, because I think that was one of the worst decisions Disney Marvel has ever made with regards to one of their characters, taking a really good established character in Sam Wilson as Falcon and forcing him to become Captain America. That was utterly stupid. But then on the other side of the equation, we have the leftists who just call everything that they disagree with racist. And I want to address both of those situations right here. I'm going to start first with a post from Endymion. And I normally like Endymion's work, but every now and then he gets one wrong. He says right here, be One Piece on Netflix. Season 1 impresses everyone. Showrunner leaves between seasons. Now we got race swaps. Coincidence or not? As I mentioned before, the actor that is playing Luffy is Mexican. Now, I would be kind of concerned if I was Brazilian. Like, dude, you said he wanted to be Brazilian. But be that as it may, Inaki Godoy is brownish, whereas Luffy is white in the anime and in the manga. So that, by Endymion's logic, Inaki Godoy playing Luffy is a race swap. But yet, as he mentioned by his own argument here, season 1 impresses everyone with Inaki Godoy playing Luffy. I think he's wrong right here. And what I say right here, my response to him is right here. First Grums, and I'll look at Grums' post here in a minute, then Endymion. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to what's going on in One Piece. There are no race swaps happening in One Piece. There are race accuracies occurring. Big difference. Now, I will credit myself one little criticism on that, because in the first season of One Piece, they did race swap Nami's sister to be black, whereas in the anime, they're both white. And that kind of looks weird in the live action. However, it did not detract from the story. And I don't think that this would detract from the story here either. I think that what Eiichiro Oda is going for here, once again, is racial and ethnic accuracy, as he would see his characters being reflected in the real world. So I completely disagree with Endymion on that point right there as well. But then we'll go over here to Grums, because Grums posted the same thing. It was going so well. But then I responded to Grums, no, this is fine. Eiichiro Oda is trying to adapt One Piece to reflect the realism of the One Piece world if it were real. This is not a race swap, but an attempt to accurately reflect a character if they originated in a particular Middle Eastern region. And so I've been familiar with the One Piece world and its characters going back to its origination back in 1999. I actually didn't start watching the anime until the 4Kids mishap. And you real hardcore One Piece fans know what I'm talking about when I say the 4Kids mishap. I started with that one, but then once the actual anime was translated properly over to English via Funimation, I picked it up there and started watching it. And I've been watching the series ever since. So I'm very familiar with these characters. I'm very familiar with the world of One Piece. Eiichiro Oda creates a lot of weird characters. And when I say weird, there's going to be a person that's going to be part of Baroque Works if he makes his debut here by the name of Bon Clay. He is part of the Baroque Works. He happens to be a weirdo, if you will. He wears lipstick. He's very flamboyant. I would be concerned if they make him gay, because in the anime itself, he doesn't come off as gay. He just comes off as a very flamboyant, masculine individual. There's going to be other characters in the future. We're going to meet Emperor Ivankov. Emperor Ivankov is definitely gay. He wears One Piece bathing suits. He takes a medicine which allows him to transition from male to female at a whim. He has a partner who happens to also do the same thing, transition from male to female at a whim. He happens to lord over an island of cross-dressing men who are all gay, that have a crush on Sanji. So there's going to be all kinds of weird characters in one. There's another one where Frankie has a beef with one of the commanders that work under a character by the name of Don Flamingo. He happens to wear diapers and suck on a pacifier. So all these characters are going to be eventually coming to One Piece, and they all are going to be reflected as to how Eiichiro Oda wants to reflect them. So I don't think that this is a situation where it's a race swap. It's more of an ethnic accuracy. But then I'm going to go on the other side here, because once again, the leftists always like to overstep their boundaries and call anybody who disagrees with them racist. I don't think Grums is being racist. I don't think Endymion is being racist. By the way, follow me on X. My handle is Doombot, or you can just look at under me as chrisboltssr. But neither one of them are sitting here saying that this is because of racism. A lot of times people are just concerned with where things are going with regards to these certain properties, because when we've gotten so used to seeing race swaps, sex swaps, sexuality swaps, and know that something else is being pushed besides the actual content. And they have a concern when they make these types of changes to the source material. However, once again, like I said, they want to go ahead and label it as racist. So Chiranthra Chirandran has seen the racist comments from her fans. We're going to go over here and scroll right here. Very first one says, people saying, stop lying to yourself. She's not at all in talk. She should be Mr. One. That's a mean comment, but that's not racist. How the hell does she look like Vivi? Netflix always does this bullshit purposely in the name of diversity. Follow the original source, for God's sake. Once again, not racist. Harsh, but not racist. Looking Vivi like this, I wish Crocodile wins in Alabasta arc so we can't see this Vivi again. Once again, that's harsh, but not racist. This just doesn't give Vivi's vibe at all. People forcing perfect and shit because they don't want to be labeled as, quote, racist, but this is just dumb as fuck. Imagine if Luffy's cast was black too. Who cares about geographical accuracy? We want shit to be the same as the manga, at least the things that are possible to replicate. Once again, it's harsh, but it's not racist. And here's the last one. Vivi's my crush from season till now. Just can't see her any different than what she really is in the anime. Nefertari de Vivi from One Piece is depicted with tall, slim figure with graceful proportions, long, straight sky blue hair, often in a ponytail or loose, large, expressive, dark blue eyes, smooth, fair skin, soft, feminine facial features, with a gentle smile, elegant posture, and fitting her royal background. I don't get the Netflix obsession with Black and South Indian people. Now, that comment is also not racist. However, I think everything that he just mentioned right there accurately describes Chiranthra Chirandran. I think she's got a fair complexion. I think she's got soft, smooth skin. She's very beautiful. She's got the blue hair. She's got the outfit. She's wielding her Vivi's little ring weapon from the Alabasta arc. I think all that describes her right there. Again, this comment is not racist. And I don't even think it's really that harsh, because a lot of us have gotten tired of race swaps, sex swaps, sexuality swaps. I completely disagree with this entirely. These people are not racist fans. They are passionate fans. They are loyal fans to the source material, whether it's the manga or the anime. And one thing that I will say that needs to stop right now before it gets worse is when the actors of the show gets involved with these cultural arguments. Emily Rudd and Rob Coletti condemn racist backlash to Chiranthra Chirandran's casting as Vivi in Netflix's One Piece. I hope Netflix gets to these actors pronto to stop these fools from destroying what could be potentially a really great season 2 for Netflix's One Piece. They do not have to come out here and start slamming the fans as racist. That has never ever worked. It didn't work for Disney Marvel, didn't work for Disney Star Wars, didn't work for DC, didn't work for any of those, didn't work for Cowboy Bebop. It does not work to come out and start slamming your fans as racist, especially when it's being done by people who are intricately involved with the project in question. So we go down right here. This is coming directly from this actor right here. He's going to be playing Walpole. Looks really great. He looks like he's going to be a really good looking Walpole. I can't wait to see his performance. Name is Rob Coletti. He says this right here. This incredible story has always and will always celebrate and champion diversity. That's not up for debate. And to be fair, most of you have been incredibly welcoming and appreciative of Chiranthra. We see that. We are grateful to you for that. And we encourage you to continue to stand up to racism and bigotry from the small, hateful faction of the fan base that are ruining this experience for everyone else. No, people like you are ruining this for everyone else, because you don't sit there and extend any kind of grace to anyone who disagrees with you. People who have concerns about Vivi's look in the live action One Piece are doing it, in my view, with good faith. But you guys don't want to extend that to these individuals. You want to immediately just label them as racist and bigots. You guys are ruining this experience. If you keep calling half the fan base that likes this stuff racist and bigots, they just gonna check out. They checked out of Disney Star Wars. They checked out of Disney Marvel. They checked out of DC. They checked out of a lot of Netflix projects. It does not work when you call people racist and bigots because they have a difference of opinion from you on how a certain character is being portrayed on the big screen or on the small screen. Rob Coletti continues, but to those of you whose suspension of disbelief survives devil fruits, giant sea monsters, snails that become telephones, and all the other marvelous, wondrous, imaginative, magical world building that Oda created for everyone on this big, beautiful planet, yet somehow crumbles at the sign of an accurate representation of a pretend character in a live action remake of a cartoon, the problem isn't with casting, it's with you. That kind of behavior is ignorant, embarrassing, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Be better, do better. That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly because everyone likes this world. I'm gonna use his word, everyone. However, not everyone's gonna follow over to the live action portrayal of One Piece. Yeah, it did well for season 1, but some people still just said, "No, I can't deal with looking at this being brought to life. I'm not going to watch it." And frankly, if you keep calling people racist and bigots and saying that this isn't for you, more of the fan base is going to check out. This is something that you do not want to go ahead and do. And then here's Emily Rudd with her statement. Perceived canon does not excuse blatant racism or hate of any kind. I am beyond proud of our show, our cast, and the opportunity we have to bring to life a story centered around a diverse found family by an equally diverse found family. So were they racist in the first season when they all just said, "Hey, we like the portrayal of Luffy being played by a Mexican"? Were they racist when we said, "Oh, we like the portrayal of Usopp as a black guy"? Or when Arlong, who obviously is a black guy underneath all that makeup, were they racist then? This is stupid. And I hope Netflix really gets to these people and tell them, hey, you guys need to slow your roll. We only want you to say positive things about One Piece. We do not want you diving into any of the social or cultural things that are going among the fans. Let the fans have that discussion. Some of you guys need to take the Sydney Sweeney route here and not the Joey Swole route. Joey Swole decided to jump in and have a discussion with people on Hulk Hogan. And then he turned around and apologized. And it still hurt him. It came back with his tail tucked between his legs and tried to bring back his career. He probably won't be hurt over the long run, but he looked foolish for a time there. Sydney Sweeney, on the other hand, kept her mouth shut. She ain't said a damn word about what's going on with the American Eagle. Did not address anybody. She let the people in the culture have that discussion. And it's working out for her, and it's working out for American Eagle. You actors, you need to stop this. Don't get involved in the social and cultural commentary associated with any of your projects. Treat all of your constituents, if you will, your audience, as just having rare disagreements. Go look at Henry Cavill when Henry Cavill talks about passionate fans.
Your opinion about the fans on the web, and more important, those fans who are more aggressively on the web.
I have always looked at fan reactions, whether they be fully supportive or negative or aggressive or whatever they may be, as passion. Fans are just passionate. I'm a fan too. I'm passionate. And if you have a forum to vent your passion on, then one will. And I've always been fascinated by the difference of opinions. It's not everyone's going to have the same opinion. And sure, some people may word it in a way which which is, it doesn't make people feel great, but that's okay. Passion's passion, man. I'm all about it.
He doesn't sit there and chastise the fans as being racist or bigots or anything like that. He extends grace to both sides. Why is it hard for you leftists to try to extend grace to people who disagree with you? Some people just say, hey, I want Vivi to be white. I happen to disagree. I think this is a perfect casting for Vivi. They want Vivi to look like how she does in the manga and the anime. Eiichiro Oda said that he was the one that personally chose Chiranthra Chirandran to play the character, Vivi. So I am going to have faith in Eiichiro Oda. I didn't have faith in him in the first season because I was like, oh man, this is going to be another sorry attempt by Netflix to do a live action anime. But it turned out to work, and I'm happy for it. But I think these guys right here, Emily Rudd and Rob Coletti, will do more damage to Netflix's One Piece than what Endymion and Grums will do. I think Endymion and Grums are both wrong, and I think a lot of people that agreed with them are wrong as well. And most of them are conservative. On other issues, I will agree with them on, but on this, I think they're wrong. But that's not going to do as much damage to this series as this right here, where you have two of the major actors calling half the audience from Netflix's One Piece racist. That has never worked. But those are my thoughts on the issue. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys agree with me that this is a really good casting for One Piece? Or do you disagree? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments below. If you disagree with me on whether or not this is considered racist to be against Chiranthra Chirandran being cast as Vivi, jump down and let me know that as well. And make sure you guys do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. You take it easy.